Thursday, October 16th. Motion to open the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Don't have any, no minutes for this month, no mail, no appointments. All right, new business. So operations update, Dan.
Yes, September's numbers, we were at a forecast of 255. We came in at 328. Last year's number was 306, so we beat that number handedly. And that will put us approximately about 204 to 205 above plan for year to date. October, we had some rain this past week. We were doing well up until that. As of now, we're about 25 behind where we should be at the midpoint of the month. And then Steve and I had a conversation regarding the upcoming maintenance Monday. We're gonna cancel that, run the T-sheet, and then I told Isaac that we are on operation revenue from here to the end of the month to make sure we hit the number. So if there's any way that we can modify the T-sheet to get in more bodies, we will do so and see if we can achieve that number. I think if the weather cooperates, we're not that far behind, we might be able to track that down. So that's as far as the numbers go. And then let's see, Pro Shop, everything's stocked. I've got everything up to speed, outer layers. I got a couple mid layers. I went by Catman last week, but unfortunately we missed timing, so I'm gonna stop in there before the end of the season, start working on some stuff for spring and get some concepts and some products together. As far as repairs, the freezer in the closet is back to life because, as I was just discussing with John before the meeting started, it probably was overheated. It's a tight quarters in that closet and is extremely hot all summer long. So I don't know if there's some type of thermal control where it taps out, but it went down for a couple of months until it actually just cooled off, and now it's operating again. So we're probably going to go in there and clean that up and see if we can create a little bit more space for it so it can breathe a little bit more, and we're going to run that thing till it's dead. The ball machine is working. This last issue that we had it the last time when we finally had time to go down there, I grabbed my starter, opened the trays, had them empty the ball machine. The coin thing was operational. All the trays were muddied up and the balls were muddied up, so it was almost like sandpaper. Everything was sitting and stuck, so nothing would roll out. So I said, take all the balls, wash all the balls. I went in there with a rag, soap and water, cleaned all the ball machine, cleaned all the shelves, and it is functioning fine. So we don't need to buy a new ball machine. It's operational. And then I bought new brushes for the ball washer that I've notified Steve. We're going to take care of that over the winter, get that up to speed so that it cleans the balls more efficiently than the worn out brushes that we have. Computers, I have an estimate. Windows 11 is coming through, and let's see what that is. I think it was $4,500. I have the estimate in there somewhere, but I will locate the estimate as this meeting continues. But it's about $4,000 for the new computers to upgrade the Pro Shop. So I would recommend that we do that so we can get up to speed, and maybe we can kind of fix this lapse we have with the now that our POS system is cloud-based. It seems that we get some lags with the transactions, and we have to clean the computer through the CC Cleaner app 3 to 4 times a day, so it doesn't hang up, and we get everybody through the transactions to happen more efficiently. So I think with getting a newer computer, getting up to speed with Windows, and getting some of the applications updated, that might assist. And we have to do it anyways because Windows 10 is going to be obsolete. They said actually by the end of this month it won't be supported anymore.
Won't support it.
So
How old are the computers in there now?
When did we last time we got computers? Like seven.
I don't
years ago?
I personally gave up on computers and bought my own laptop.
Yeah. So it was a while. It's just shy of a decade.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's probably.
it's due. They're due.
For me, anyway,
That was a while ago.
the
Yeah.
stationary
Yeah, it's been
computer is
out.
just too
Yeah.
I have the quote.
not useful.
What I'll do is I'll email it to everybody. It's from Nick, IT, Nick and Tony. They sent it over, so
Tony's.
that's the town's IT department. It's nothing. There's no bells and whistles. It's just a standard PC, and so we'll get 2 PCs and 1 laptop. And that'll get the pro shop up to speed.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let's see. As far as outings go, we have 1 outing left this weekend. All the leagues are completed. Outings are done. We have a few weeks left with the junior clinics. Old Colony won their league championship this year, so I want to give a big hoorah out to Old Colony. Congratulations. They did a great job this year. We won the best of the best. So this year, once again, we won 2018, 2019, 2020, 2023, 24, and 25 consecutively. Shout out to Steve Tibbles and the boys and Acushnet River Valley Ops guys. Great job. Thanks to the golf committee, the selectmen for the support, and we'll keep pushing forward and see if we can win this as many times as possible. And then the last thing that I have was in speaking with the chairman of the board about the salary recommendations that he requested in the spring, if we could kind of put some thoughts on paper and get that over to him so that they can review as we head into, we got budgets coming up, so conceptually we kind of got to have an idea of where we're planning on going with the organization, and whether it's the same, higher, lower, we need to probably just prep and put something on paper for them so they can review it and get a concept of where they're going to go.
Any other questions for Dana? What I put on there just underneath this, I know that working through the town treasurer and Jamie, we're looking at upgrade our point of sale, like credit card terminals. Get that done over the off season so we're ready for next year, right? Make it easy and fast for customers to pay, tap to pay with your phone. I think we should be as cashless as possible just to keep things moving. Who really has, we'll still take it,
Nobody
but-
carries cash
Right.
anyways, hardly
Right.
any. And no one,
The people can go by the
Yes.
tent or wherever and tap, grab their beer and a hot dog and go.
Right.
It's just gonna be easier for them and better for us.
fast,
so.
absolutely.
Now,
Yeah.
did they include one for the guys outside?
Yeah, they're trying to,
Is that
just talking to-
wireless or is there
I
something?
think it's gonna be wireless, and they're trying to get one for the Bev cart as well. There's a little, I just
Might
talked.
not work on
Yeah.
that side.
I know.
It's cellular.
Cellular is tough, 7 and 10, you
Yeah.
can get it, but as the
Go out.
further out you go,
Good reception.
it's a little bit
At my
tougher.
house, yeah, I got fine reception.
But,
if we
so
could
I've been
at least-
talking with Jen, and we're gonna, when she gets back from her conference, we're gonna go on a road trip and go check out, Barnstable, some munis that have restaurants, as well as, the pro shop. What I was trying to tell her is, yeah, because she was talking about changing the POS system, working in the shop, that a golf course has to have a reservation system. It's not just a POS. You know what I mean? It's not like just going to a store. You have to have the tee
just like-
times.
Just like cash, nobody wants to use cash and nobody wants to call to make a tea time.
Right, exactly.
They all want to do it
On the phone.
on
Done.
the phone or on the,
So what I'm trying to, we're gonna try and find, there's only a limited amount of vendors that do golf POS systems. And I'm not sure what the town's mindset is with regards to Clover or whatever vendor that they're looking at and how it ties to a golf reservation system. But she was saying, well, you might have to change your POS system in the shop. And I'm like, well, you gotta have a golf POS system. It can't just be what they run at Marshall's. You need something that's focused for your professional operation as a golf course. Now, so what does that mean? So we might have the same situation where you have your POS system that runs the reservations, and then you have your credit card machine
Credit card,
that
yeah.
runs in tandem with it, but they're not connected. Ideally, we would like
Should
to do
be the
both
same.
together, but the town usually doesn't want to pay what Golf Now wants to take from them. So, you know what I mean? You want the cheapest vendor that we can make the most money, that works efficiently, but you need a golf reservation system that works efficiently and professionally with reporting functions that we can run the business with. So this is the balance that we're gonna try and navigate and find out. So that's where we're at. I'll keep you guys posted. I mean, when we did this the last time with the reservations, I looked at Chelsea reservations, but I don't think Chelsea is, ties in with Clover either. So again, I think it's probably gonna be two separate systems like we currently have. But as long as it processes fast and we have more, contact points at the grill
Right.
and on the beverage cart, it's a win. So we'll see if we can pull it together. If not, we'll just run two tandem systems and tie it together at the end of the day like we do now.
You just put in the food and bev number at the end of the day
Right,
like it's
correct.
always been.
Yep. So you do a food and beverage number for the grill, you do a food and beverage number batch from the bev cart. At the end of the day, you go to your POS system and you tie in your 800 from the grill and your 800 from the bev cart and you put it into POS so it's recorded, and then it all goes together.
Yeah,
And you batch those out when that shift ends. So it's
I think it's, I know everybody likes to have relatively less expensive, but I think it's important for them to have the system that functions best, because again, everything's done electronically. You know what happens when the power goes off or the system goes down. I mean, you're SOL. And then the slower and the cheaper you have, the more SOL you're out before it comes back up. And that, you know, if you're talking driving revenue and keeping revenue going, you know, I'd rather buy the closer to the Cadillac than the Volkswagen.
right. And we've always, your customer's perception is how you run this business. So your customer wants fast efficiencies. They love the tap and pay. And if they can move through stuff, and if that's a little bit more expensive, so be it, because that's where the world's going. It's just the way it is. So we'll get some numbers and some programs and systems and see where it all lies.
So Steve's maintenance update.
Couple of things here real quick. If you remember back at the last, I think it was the last meeting, you know, we discussed the purchase of the vibe seating reels. We were able to pick those up after having passed that by the Board of Selectmen. We oversee the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 9th, and 11th greens. And we've had excellent success with the machine. I would estimate that we had anywhere between 75 to 80% germination, and occurred within 10 to 12 days. Which was, I mean, you could go out in the morning and see it before the cut, and you could just see the corn rows going in both directions. So I'm very pleased with that. In the future, we'll be using that again on the weaker greens, and any of the greens that we may have issues with, and also as a point for future consideration, we're trying to start to transition. It would take significantly more time this way, but we're trying to transition to the newer bents. I mean, our greens are L93. I don't believe that people use L93 for much of anything except possibly tees or fairways anymore. It's an older turf. It tends to segregate out. It doesn't like the cold weather. It's slow to respond in the spring, and so on. So we're trying to transition to some of the newer bent grasses that have a thicker composition as far as blades per square foot, and also a more disease resistance built into them, because they've taken, basically what they've done, you know, they've taken parents that were disease resistant, bred them together, and created things like, you know, Pure Distinction 007, as the newer bent grasses. And I think over time we're going to have to start introducing those, or trying to make a, you know, conversion, as opposed to complete reconstruction, which means, you know, closing it down, rebuilding the green, stripping the top off, and doing all that good stuff. Did want to mention I purchased the cover for the 4th green. We'll be putting that cover down in mid to late December after we make the snow mold applications and after after the turf has gone dormant. I'm also looking at a tree removal project, approximately 18 trees from the back right corner of the green. Kind of went out and did our own little sun exposure shadow research just by going out at different times in the morning. And there's a certain group of trees that are blocking the sun from that right-hand side and center of the green. We've identified those, spoke with the tree folks, and they gave us a price of $6,800. So I'm going to suggest that we do that, and I'm also going to suggest, obviously, that we wait, till end of November once the ground firms up a little bit, because we're going to have to get not only the bucket truck back in there, but also pieces of equipment there's certain, the logs from those trees will be of a certain size that can't be run through a chipper. So we're going to take those and place those at the outskirt of where we trim or cut back to, because we don't have any way to get them out with our current equipment, and to hire a log truck or someone else would drive that cost up significantly. So we're going to let them sit in the woods as kind of a little wall or barrier. We'll chip what we can, and if we cut some of them, we'll be able to cut in small enough lengths that we can pick up with our machine and put in the pronovost and bring in. Basically all we do is put them up the top of the hill, or if Dan has time, he comes over and picks them up with his machine, throws them in the back of his truck, and takes them over to the yard they get a tub grinder, I think, down there at some point. So other than that, greens are in good shape. Tees and fairways, overseeding went well, with good germination and recovery in those particular, on the particular ones that are giving us some trouble. The other thing I wanted to mention, I mentioned last time, is that this time of year and early spring is a good time to consider recontouring or reshaping some of the fairways. By that I mean eliminating some fairway turf that's, there's no reason at all to have the beginning of the first fairway be 60 some odd yards wide. And if you look at particular holes, you can see where there is a lack of rough, significantly greater fairway, and I think it's something, I could go out there and do it. I'm not just going to go out there and do it without, getting some input from folks here as far as where to cut, where to cut back and where to shape. We could even have Tim Garish, who's did our bunker project architectural work, help with that somewhat from an architect's perspective. And basically what we do is, once we made that determination, we would cut the bentgrass sod out and replace it with bluegrass sod, similar to the sod that we've used around the new bunkers in the rough areas in the construction. And that way we could get that to grow in. It would be nice, depending on the condition and the time of year, to be able to take that bentgrass sod and repurpose it, as opposed to just chopping it up and throwing it away. But something to consider for this time of year and in the spring. The golf traffic is a little bit lighter, and you can actually get out there and make some, put some flags down, make a, have a discussion, and not have to worry about getting bombarded and run over. So,
If you were going to be repurposing some of the sod or anything like that, is it something you can handle, or you got to?
Well, the only issue with repurposing it is, in order to do that, you have to have some place to put it.
Right.
So what you're going to want to do is prep the area where you're going to put it, whether it be on a tee or an expansion of a tee or something. Have that ready and basically cut it, pick it up, and put it in another spot. A good example is if you go down the 10th hole, you'll see where the new approach goes to the right, you'll see a section of that bentgrass that looks different from the rest. Well, that section that looks different was the bentgrass that was cut approximately 500 square feet from the right side of the 10th fairway. when the rough was recontoured, when we reshaped it. We cut that out, put it up where it currently sits, and then bought in 500 square feet of rough sod and replaced it. And the other thing you'll notice is if you go down there, all that bent grass down there looks very good. Some of, there's still little areas of scalping here and there that'll come out with the top dressing and aeration and what have you. But you can see the old, what I call the old bent grass or the repurposed bent grass is fine. I mean, you could go in there and cut that we're cutting the bent grass down there now at 0.5. We normally cut at 0.375 for our approaches in our fairways. So it needs to be backed down, but right now isn't the time to back it down, although I could go in that old grass and back it down, I wouldn't have a problem with that. So yeah, I mean, the idea is good.
Yeah.
It costs a little bit more money, but for instance, if you were going to expand a tee, then I would, do the tee expansion and then cut the bent grass sod out and put it on the tee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll work fine. You have to top dress it a few times, aerate it, roll it a couple times, but it'll save you the cost of either seeding or buying new sod, and it will be, it'll come in, in most times much better and much sooner than the replaced sod or the other sod. The other thing that happens when you buy sod is you're buying sod that was grown somewhere, and you're buying a different soil level at the bottom of the sod. Then you're bringing it. I mean, the sod that we have came from Maine, so you're looking at a different soil, and sometimes you get they're not as compatible as you'd like. So you have to punch a million holes in them, and so you can get a mix in there, and you can get it converted to a new type of a new soil base.
This one seems to have taken well, though.
Yeah, no, they took,
Really?
well, knock on wood, we were lucky in the standpoint that, if you remember, when we initiated this process, or project, and actually got it approved, we were going with the possibility of starting in August and finishing in November. And they came in here, I believe it was the 28th of September, 28th of August, first week of September, somewhere in there. He was finished in half the time, and we were just able to hit that patch of warm weather and rain at the right time. And everything rooted. The only thing that really hasn't rooted that well is the right side bunker on the 6th hole, unfortunately, because it sits over there in the shade.
Yeah.
It doesn't get hardly much sun at all. So it's going to be a little bit slower. But irrigation system is going to be winterized on Tuesday, the 4th of November. We did this last year, and I'd like to be able to do it again this year. We have basically a 2-hour delay in starting tee times in that particular day. We get the compressor for 1 day, and hopefully he can get it and drop it off the night before, so we can put it out there and be ready to go once we get light. But the blowout process involves obviously blowing the water out of the lines, but is also, in order to get the water out properly, you let the heads spin for a certain amount of time, and you're blowing out compressed air that makes a wonderful deafening whistle, especially if you're standing close around to it. So in order to get the job done, but also to make it least comfortable, or at least uncomfortable for people who might be out playing golf, that 2-hour window helped out quite a bit last year. Normally, normally the day you blow out is the day it's cold, rainy, wet, and nobody's here anyway. But the last 2 years, we've had 60-degree weather, and you're out there, and once that process starts, you don't necessarily want to stop it. You always have to keep something running, because either that or you have to run all the way back to the pump house and shut the compressor off, which is kind of ridiculous. But if you don't keep something running, the pressure will build up, and as soon as you hit that button to blow something out, the head will go flying out of the air, because all that built up pressure is air pressure sitting there, and the heads really weren't made to handle air pressure, they're made to handle water pressure. And that pressure from that compressor, it's a 750 compressor will blow the head right out of the ground. we always have to keep something running, and that's, that tends to interfere somewhat too with people trying to play, so. The other thing I wanted to mention about the irrigation system is that the suction line floats, which keep the suction line above the bottom of the pond, have deteriorated to the point where they're not working. So we're researching the buying new floats, and it's not something that's specifically made. So we're going to talk to the marine folks here in New Bedford and see what they can come up with. You know, like something similar to dock floats or something. The one thing I will mention though is that's I believe it's an 8-inch suction line, possibly even a 10-inch suction line. There is no way that we're going to pull that thing out of the water without the help of the DPW and the excavator. Basically, what we'll do is pull the excavator to the front of the pump station, put the arm out there, put the chain on that, and slowly pull that thing out of the water. It's got a self-cleaning foot valve on the bottom or the end of it that it's self-cleaning, but it needs to be pulled out of the water every 4 or 5 years and cleaned. And it hasn't been pulled out since it's been in there because we've got no way to get it out. So that's something we'll really look to be doing. The pump house itself is going to be winterized on the 12th of November, about a week after the system is blown out. We have working on aeration dates for next year. We've secured some. Basically, the ones that have been secured are the ones that are outsourced. We're looking at the fairway solid tine aeration with the possibility of having them do some slice seeding. And that's Monday the 3rd of August. We've got the dry jet coming in on Tuesday the 4th of August. And I can't commit to it now because I'm not certain what I'm going to have for staff at that particular time. But there is a good possibility that instead of being, closed for a full day, we, close till 11 o'clock or something. And that way we can be far enough ahead if we're operating 3 machines that we won't get caught. But that all depends on the number of staff we have at that particular time. The other thing is the greens deep tine. I just got off the phone with folks to do that for us, and we're looking at Monday the 26th of October, or Monday the 9th of November, or Monday the 16th of November, whichever. I gave him those options so he could see what he has open. He was actually out doing a job when I spoke with him, so he didn't have a schedule in front of him. On the deep tine, I've asked him about the possibility of getting 3 machines. If we can get 3 machines in here, then on that particular day, we don't really need to be closed the whole day, so we can be closed till 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on whether I can get 2 or 3 machines in. So, that's moving forward with aeration. Those are the dates that we've secured and reserved with those folks. We've somewhat discussed the bunker project. The project's been complete. They've been done for approximately 2 weeks. The 7th hole's been open for play. The 10th hole will be open for play this Monday. The 6th hole most likely is going to have to wait another week, possibly 2, just because of that where it sits in the shade. It was done at the tail end of the better weather. We were on it the other day to try to cut it, and we made some impressions in some places. Luckily we were able to take the greens roller out there and roll them out. I mean, they weren't really visible, but you could feel them when you walked on them. So that might be delayed somewhat as far as getting that one open. I'm not going to cut down the bent grass on the 10th hole until the spring. I don't think it's a good idea to cut it down and scalp it again as we're going into the colder weather, and it has the least amount of time to recover. The one thing I also like to mention that so far the payment requests that have been reviewed and submitted for payment total $115,498. We're waiting for the final payment request and for review and approval of that. So. Again, just for future projects, I don't know, you may or may not have noticed, there was an individual out here about a week before they finished or thereabouts who was basically creating the as-built that it was part of the project. The as-built was digitized, it's in a digital format. The fellow who was out there doing it was the fellow who I had spoken to, worked with for several years in the past, and had spoken to about digitizing or getting a base map for the entire course. Once you start with a base map, you can locate your sprinkler heads. You can locate just about anything on that base map, and you can add buildings to it. You can add septic systems. You can add other things to it. Especially in the age of digital work, if you're going to, for instance, build any T's or anything like that, or bunkers, you can go out there and locate the exact spot where those bunkers were installed. A lot of times what happens now, greens-wise, and it's happened in the past, is greens shrink, T's shrink. Operators might cut out a little bit too far or might cut in a little bit too far, and over time things shrink. This way, with it being digitized, you can go back to the exact size. And I don't think much of any construction is done nowadays without a digital base map for people to go back and reference. And I think it's a good investment and something that's better done in the fall. One, because you have fewer golfers out there, but two, you have clear skies, no leaves on trees and whatnot, and it's easy for them to go out and get that done. Then there's other, there's other projects. Again, I listed these last time we spoke. At least those were my ideas. If individuals have other ideas, it'd be great to hear them. Again, the one thing that's important is if we're going to try to do any projects in 2026, now's the time to get that figured out and get it done. As in talking with different architects and some other construction folks, and the folks at DHT, the folks that were here and did our work. Right now, the earliest you're going to get on their schedule is August of 2026. Spring projects are already booked up, and that's So if you were thinking of doing anything, it's time is of the essence to come up with it, decide what you want to do and move forward. I also listed the equipment needs as I feel they may be. Again, we're treading on thin ice with our aerators. We only have two, and the one that we have is about the width of this table in front of me, and that's to do all the tees, all the approaches, and the par 3 fairways, and 1 or 2 fairways that we need to pull a core on, not to mention the greens. So we really do need to consider replacing those 2 items, and if you remember, we discussed that at the time we came up with the number for the article that went through and was passed at town hall. So I don't want to continue to, I know we like to end these meetings quickly, so I keep on talking, but we need to interject at times and let us know what your thoughts are. And the last thing I had there was Dana had mentioned earlier. It's time to start thinking about FY 2027 and how we're going to go about work on our budget. And the one thing that I'll mention that Dana alluded to was the most significant portion of your budget, anywhere from 60 to 70%, is your payroll. So I think that has a direct influence on the rest of the budget and available funds. So that's something that we need to embark on sooner than later, so we get a handle on that, and that way he and I can rob Peter to pay Paul and figure out where we're going to go and not have a shocking or what some people may feel is a shocking increase for the annual budget. But I will say as a final note on budgets that the cost of everything has gone up since this time last year, significantly so, and most people know that if, you know, whether it's for your home or anywhere else, if you go out to buy something, it costs about, you know, a third of the amount more than it did this time last year.
And probably going up.
Fertilizers and pesticides and fuel and, you know, clothing and food supplies are no different, so.
I think, Dave, what, isn't next year's is our last big payment, right? For the
Yes,
budget?
next July.
So it's a big year for us, huge year,
Yeah.
symbolically.
Yeah.
And the sheet I just gave you was the PGA. For A1 is the PGA Pro and A4 is the director. So that's their survey of this area, this region, I should say. And I have a copy of the enterprise fund rules and regs. I sent it out to a couple of you guys, but I have a hard copy. If you want, I can shoot you a text with it. So as we head into this realm of, you know, a new beginning for us, it's important for, I think, everybody to be well versed in what are the parameters and specs in this.
Yeah,
I'll send you a copy.
because
as
the
well.
one important thing about that is unfortunately, you know, again, I don't understand why, but then again, most people don't understand why government does what it does. You can't bankroll, as an enterprise fund, you can't bankroll money. You can't continually make it and make it and make it and make it without spending it to the benefit of the enterprise fund. So, you know, that needs to be considered because, you know, we are, you know, knock on wood, we are doing well. We have done well over the past several years. And I don't see any reason why we can't continue to do well, but we need to plan on how to spend that and where it can be spent.
I think a big chunk of that.
Because that's a good segue into the next thing on our agenda. So, you know, the good news is, what we all know, is that the selectmen approved putting an article on the fall town meeting, November 3rd, correct, Cindy? November 3rd. And really, we're at the culmination now of a 2.5-year process. It started back with the National Golf Foundation, reviewing our operations for us, looking at what we have, what we don't have, where we could be, right, matching the level of our amenities to the high level of the course. So then that led us to Catalyst Architecture coming in and working with us in the Facilities Exploratory Committee. What could we do? Where could we be? What's gonna be the next thing, yes, the next 28 years of operation here, right? And that led them with their recommendation to us, looking at a budget of $3.5 million. The Board of Selectmen backs that recommendation, and there'll be a plan for an article at town meeting for, you know, $1.25 million of cash and $2.25 million of short-term borrowing to get to that maximum of $3.5 million to get this project built, get rid of the old trailer, and start the process. Now, it's not gonna get everything that this course needs for the next 5 years, but it's gonna be a good start to get us where we need to be. Get rid of the 28-year-old trailer, get a real facility, and just put us on the road to keep going forward. So as Dana said too, the timing of all of this fits with one last large debt payment to make out of our budget that we've been self-funding since 1998. Take that off the books, put it into continuing investing in the course along with some cash, and then the other upgrades that we will continue to need beyond that, whether it's equipment, whether it's bridges, whether it's irrigation.
Right.
We need to keep the quality of everything of the course up high, especially when we build the golf clubhouse. It's gonna even further elevate the expectations of the customer. And I just feel that we need to provide the customer with what they expect, from everything from service to the offerings to the quality where it's always been.
Well, I think the other thing that we need to notice is that golf has been doing quite well over the past 4 or 5 or 6 years. And it's like anything else. I mean, we're in competition. We're drawing from the same area that a lot of other golf courses are. And you need to keep up with them in that, the amenity that they provide. And I think this is, you know, this is a good step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So hopefully all of us can be there on November 3rd just to show our support as a committee.
November
Also
3rd.
as,
What time is that at?
Dave?
7 p.m. for middle school cafeteria.
Say that again?
7 p.m. for
7
middle
p.m.
school.
Yep.
7 p.m.
November 3rd,
Yeah.
Ford Middle School cafeteria. And, you know, Dana and Steve, you're not residents, but you're also all more than welcome to be there, as they always do at any town meeting, and be off to the side, and hopefully all of us residents will be there. I just think it's a long time coming, but I think we finally got into a good spot here, so personally, I'm excited
Yeah,
for
really.
this.
I am too.
Yep, I can remember back stealing from Paul and giving to whoever we needed to through the budget line and not making enough for,
Right.
whoa.
See, how about every year, sitting there at the end of the year going, scratch that,
Yeah.
scratch that,
Yeah.
scratch that, scratch
Right,
that.
making
Well,
30,
it's-
making 30 grand at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know, we're a long
If
way from
that.
there.
Yeah.
But
If
at least
that.
it was, the 30
touch
grand
and
was
go.
better than 0 grand.
Well, right, so
Yeah.
that's to reiterate to the public though, since 1998,
Yes.
we have been self-sufficient 100% all these years.
Yeah.
Self-sufficient meaning, clarify, please?
We have not taken $1 of taxpayer funds to operate this golf course.
Awesome.
And we won't.
That's a huge service.
No.
Correct. And
Yeah, we won't.
that's our commitment that we will continue to operate that way.
In fact, the Golf Enterprise Fund helps fund taxpayer dollar things. So it helps fund some positions in town hall too.
That's correct.
It helps offset the
Yes.
collector's office and certain positions like
Indirect
that.
costs.
Yes.
So we are moving collectively forward together.
It's good.
Indirectly.
Indirect.
Given,
Sorry, I
given
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
Given the
great.
way
That's a good
future,
insight.
Certainly, anytime.
future real estate and other things look, 15 or 20 years down the road, I think Andrew's kids are gonna be glad that there's some open space left in Acushnet. And the other small kids who grow up, the 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds who are gonna be teenagers in a few years are gonna be glad that you have open space.
I also heard too that, what, is it Cape Cod's closing? Cape Cod?
The one in
Yeah,
Falmouth
country
is.
club.
And then I also
I
heard,
think it's under review again.
It's under
So,
review.
and I also
Yeah.
heard, Lakeville is,
Oh, well.
it's getting,
situation.
it's closer to 9 holes with condos as opposed to what they are now, just a
It's too
Well,
bad.
in most of those circumstances,
field of
unless,
dirt with holes in it.
unless there's a really profound block, real estate's gonna win out in the end. And whether it's developed, because there's, look at
too
the
valuable.
law they tried, I don't know if they passed it or still trying to pass it in Massachusetts, where, I'll use Rehoboth as an example. They were trying to come in and make it so you could have multifamily zoning.
Mm-hmm.
And, people in Rehoboth, they said, no, we don't want multifamily zoning, we can't, we're septic system and wells, you can't, place can't support it. But in places that can, that's what you're going to end up looking towards, because, every night in the news, you hear that people can't afford a house. So they're going to do different things to be able to make
And there's
that
not enough
possible.
of them, even if
Yeah,
they
not,
could
yeah,
afford them.
even if you could afford one.
So that's the update on where we are with that. Again, November 3rd. And
7
anybody else have
p.m.
any questions on anything?
I'm gonna put that in my phone, 7 p.m., November 3rd.
Ford Middle School
Yes,
cafeteria.
Now, the third, what's the third?
708 Middle Road.
Probably a Tuesday.
The third is.
What's the date again?
Yeah, it's a Monday.
It's Monday the 3rd.
They should, everybody, nobody ever wants to go to town meeting. Maybe they should have a town meeting, like on a Saturday, mid-morning, get a few food trucks outside or something. Get people to come. Nobody wants to go.
You're right. Yep,
Sometimes they have to call up the police and the fire department to get a vote. And it's the same in all the towns, and you look at it, it's 7 o'clock on a Monday night during the school year. And how many parents are, available where
And it's cold.
And it's, yeah, that too. And it's dark.
All that good stuff.
All those minimal excuses that don't get people out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just, in closing this one item out, just thanking the National Golf Foundation, thanking Catalyst, thanking the Exploratory Committee, and thanking you guys for being here, and you guys for working here every day, and see where this goes. Unless there's any other questions for Dana and Steve, we gotta pick the next date.
My schedule's pretty free. Surgery starts tomorrow, so.
Every year I say this, let's have it Thanksgiving Day so I don't have my relatives over. I can come here.
So I have those excuses. Geez, I gotta go to the meeting.
You say that on
See ya.
camera.
He does.
Yeah, well, no comment, Neil.
Too late.
Thanksgiving's my anniversary this year.
So Thanksgiving's the 27th, right?
Correct.
Usually,
So,
The week before?
the 20th? That's fine with me.
It's fine with
Okay.
I won't be here the 20th.
Oh, yeah, 18th is your surgery, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Let's do it at Steve's house.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to come to Rehoboth.
You're cooking.
Got plenty of room.
Gee, thanks.
Oh, I'm not, if y'all come, I'll just,
It'll be a
you have plenty of food.
Friendsgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
maybe not 13 then.
Yeah, I could do the week.
It would have to be, yeah.
The what, 13th? That's
That's,
fine with me.
I'm out of state at a wedding that whole week
Okay.
before, but that's right, I think.
Do it
honestly,
without
I think-
Steve on the 20th. No.
No, I think if anything, I'd be better off if you guys have it on the 13th without me, so you can get a year-end wrap-up from Steve before, things go. Before he has to go out for a little bit and kind of easing into the winter. I think that's the more important thing, that
Yeah,
you could
the
come on the
rest of us can make
13th,
it.
Steve, if everybody else can.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
my
that sounds right.
nephew's getting married out of state.
What state?
4 o'clock, 4:30,
It'll be the
what time you
13th.
wanna go?
Where?
I like
Oh,
4:30.
North Carolina.
4:30 works.
And that's what we always had, so yeah.
Actually, by that time too,
No.
it'll be dark,
Yeah.
so pretty close to it.
Yes, it will. It changes that one,
Changes
that
the-
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, when is it? Just be,
The
right-
day before the 3rd,
Second, yeah.
the 2nd.
Oh. That's the day before the 3rd. Very good, Dana.
We got,
I knew you were good
we
with
got the
numbers.
math down.
I'm telling you, I write it down.
I knew you were good with numbers, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
November
Just barely
second,
the-
4:30.
Yeah.
Yes,
November.
for the meeting.
No.
No,
13th.
November
No,
13th.
November
4:30.
13th.
13th.
Oh,
The 3rd is,
November 2nd is daylight savings.
Yes.
oh,
Yes.
good.
November 13th.
November 3rd is a town meeting,
Right.
7
Yes.
o'clock.
Camera guy up.
November 11th, Veterans Day.
Yes.
There you go. Let's go over the whole
The day
month.
after the 10th.
Do you typically meet over the winter?
So 31st, that was-
December, January, February?
We do.
We usually, yeah,
It might take one off.
we have
Usually we do.
January, we usually don't meet in December. We usually meet
Yeah,
in
you're right.
January.
Yeah,
towards the end of
usually-
January. After the.
December's at Steve's house.
Yeah, it's
No Christmas party this year?
family commotion.
Well, I don't know, hopefully this, unfortunately, the precipitation is trending towards having a decent amount of snow this year.
really?
Well,
Would
if it
do.
keeps-
It's
if
been
it keeps
5
on-
years.
Well, if it keeps on, if the precipitation keeps on coming in the waves it did, once the weather gets cold,
Oh.
you're gonna have snow instead of.
Which,
instead of
We've
rain.
been fortunate. the
seriously,
last
we were just talking about it, 5 years.
5 years, I was
We've
just
been
gonna
having
say
no
5
rain,
years.
no
I
snow.
would like
Very
to-
little.
I would love the 6 to
I
8.
took the
Nice,
snowblower
nice
out
cold
last year
winter
and
with
all
a
I had
good
was
5 or
slush.
6 inch
That's
blanket of snow would be nice.
Dave, do we have to do anything about the trees coming down, voting wise, or?
I think if we're in favor of it, can't hurt to just take a vote to memorialize that before we adjourn. then.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve Steve getting the
Fourth
fourth,
tee box.
to clear,
I mean,
clear
green.
the fourth green of the trees that are
Right
necessary.
side. Yeah.
Whatever trees are necessary to come down to make
Yeah,
that.
we have two, we're gonna take a few more down by the 10th green
Yeah.
that are leaning towards the work that was just completed, and I don't have the equipment to make them go the way I want them to, so they may take a couple, may have them come and take a couple down there too.
I'll second that motion.
Done.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That was 4 and 10.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Just to
4 and
clarify
maybe
that.
1 or 2 and 10.
there's quite a few of them down there that are, that we're gonna remove. I can take out most of them.
Steve, just a question on the bunkers. I think they came out awesome. I think it looks great. This is the first time you've used that company before to do this, or no?
What, DHT?
Yeah.
No, the first time that we had, they've done a couple things here on the course. Dan, they did the, years and years ago, I mean, it's almost close to 20 years ago, Jamie did the left-hand side green bunker on the 4th hole. He didn't rebuild it, he just redid the bunker itself. And they cut a drain across the approach on the 4th hole, so it drains out into the woods on that side.
Right, rather than draining into the
Yeah,
bunker.
and then Dan did, his father did the owner of the company did the greenside bunker on 18 That was back when Mr. Noble was town administrator, so however long ago that was. And then I've had him out here doing, doing several other quotes.
He did
Is that
that,
the
that's
first
when he did the
I remember
concrete
18.
in 18?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've done bunkers where they put that porous.
No,
concrete.
the bunker they did on 18 has a capillary concrete in the bottom of it. And if you'll notice, we went through a couple of significant rainstorms and there wasn't a bead of sand that rolled down either of the faces on 6, 7, or 10.
That's
The only thing that caused the sand to go down the face on both the 7th and the 10th greens was somebody walking right up the face. And even down there the other day, the kids were playing, and I happened to be down there cleaning up, and one of the balls went in the trap, and I went to get it for him, and he walked around the trap, walked right down the nose of the trap, and I just sat back there and bit my tongue. I didn't want to.
I know signs,
Influence
people
his day
don't
of
read
play.
signs, but put signs there too.
Well, I've got signs on the one on 7,
Yeah.
and I'm waiting for delivery of the other signs.
Okay, good.
And actually, we're going to make a personalized one that says, "Please enter bunker
I
from
like that.
this side."
Yep.
Yeah.
I still don't get the logic of trying to go up this face when the backside is nice and flat.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the
It's a
hurry.
challenge.
You know what? You know how
Yeah.
you have that slider board? When people start, that slider board is right up. Let's get a sign for that. Say, please do not walk up any bunker
of
face.
I'll see if they can fit it in
Not bad.
the little things.
Absolutely.
On the little.
Yeah.
Let's get one of those signs at solar and we can just keep
Blinking
blinking
it like the
Yeah.
stop signs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
it'll sit down there and it'll
Yeah,
blink
right.
red and orange.
Eat at Joe's.
Every,
Yeah.
every bunker.
Do not enter
10 looks
bunker.
awesome. Just awesome.
Well, if you go up to the top of the hill now, right where the cart path turns and comes down the hill, if you look at it, it gives you that significantly greater challenging look than it did before.
Oh, yeah.
And I sit there, I to this day, I don't understand why people pull out driver on the 10th hole. I mean, if it was me, I'm going to take a 5-iron or something, pop it out to the top of the hill, and then I got a nice 8-iron or something into the green. Instead of driving, because what happens is it hits the fairway, bounces down, and it goes
Hey,
into
you want to know why?
goes into the dead area.
I was sitting up on the 10T once, and Cal played, and he did this. He goes,
Oh, yeah.
"Watch
I
this."
know guys like that.
Wow.
Chicks dig the long ball.
I always enjoy those shots. They do it on the 5th tee too. Watch this, and then for some reason they end up with a 4. And I'm saying,
Not
okay,
Cal.
well you almost drove the green, so you should be at least 3. Possibly 2 if you're good with a pitching wedge. But
Any other questions for Dana or Steve?
No,
We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.